It was a regular Tuesday morning when the world changed forever. The sun rose as usual, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. People woke up, made coffee, and started their daily routines. No one knew that high above them, in the cold emptiness of space, something extraordinary was about to happen. At exactly 9:37 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time, every satellite orbiting Earth suddenly went dark. TV screens flickered, cell phones lost signal, and the internet ground to a halt. For a brief moment, the world held its breath. Then they came. Massive ships, each the size of a small city, blinked into existence around Earth. Their hulls gleamed with an otherworldly metal, covered in strange symbols that seemed to shift and change as people watched. There were 7 of them, positioned strategically around the globe. The Galactic Council had arrived. Panic spread like wildfire. In New York, people poured out of skyscrapers, their eyes fixed on the enormous ship hovering over Manhattan. In Tokyo, millions watched in stunned silence as another vessel cast its shadow over Mount Fuji. From the beaches of Rio de Janeiro to the suburbs of Sydney, humanity faced the undeniable truth. We were not alone in the universe. World leaders scrambled to respond. Emergency broadcasts crackled over old radio frequencies, urging people to stay calm and await further instructions. But how could anyone stay calm in the face of such an event? In Washington, D.C., President Sarah Chen paced in the Oval Office. Her phone hadn't stopped ringing since the ships appeared. "Madam President," her chief of staff said, bursting through the door, "the UN Security Council is calling for an emergency session. They're waiting for you." Chen nodded, her face a mask of determination. "Patch them through to the Situation Room. And get me our top scientists and military brass. We need answers, and we need them now." Meanwhile, in a small town in Kansas, 16-year-old Jimmy Wilson stared at the sky with a mixture of fear and excitement. He had always believed in aliens, but now that they were here, he didn't know what to think. "Mom," he called out, his voice shaking. "You need to see this." As the day wore on, the alien ships remained silent and motionless. No communications, no movement, nothing. The silence was almost worse than any action. People around the world held their breath, waiting for something to happen. In London, Dr. Emily Sato, one of the world's leading astrophysicists, was rushed to a secret government facility. As she entered the underground bunker, she was met by a team of scientists and military officials, all wearing grim expressions. "Dr. Sato," General Williams greeted her. "We need your expertise. What are we dealing with here?" Emily shook her head, her mind racing. I'm not sure. The technology we're seeing is far beyond anything we've ever encountered. The way they just appeared, bypassing all our early warning systems, it's like they bent space itself." As night fell, the ships began to glow with a soft, pulsing light. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. In every city, in every home, people huddled together, watching the sky and wondering what tomorrow would bring. At the United Nations in New York, representatives from every nation gathered for an emergency session. The usual political squabbles were set aside in the face of this global threat. Or was it an opportunity? No one knew for sure. Secretary General Amina Bello took the podium, her voice steady despite the fear in her eyes. "My fellow citizens of Earth," she began, "today we face the greatest challenge in human history. But we face it together, as one people, one planet." As she spoke, a message appeared on every working screen across the globe. It was simple, direct, and chilling. "People of Earth, the Galactic Council has arrived. Prepare your leaders for contact. You have 24 hours. The clock was ticking. Humanity had one day to prepare for a meeting that would determine the fate of our species. In secret bases and hidden bunkers around the world, a plan was already being set in motion. A plan that would wake something that had been sleeping for a very long time. The Galactic Council had come for humans. They had no idea what they were in for. The world held its breath as the 24-hour deadline approached. In every corner of the globe, people waited anxiously for news. What did the Galactic Council want? Were they friends or foes? As the sun rose on the second day, the largest alien ship, hovering over New York City, suddenly lit up. A beam of shimmering light shot down, touching the ground in Central Park. Within seconds, a holographic image appeared, visible to everyone in the city and broadcast around the world. The alien was tall, with blue skin and 4 arms. Its eyes were large and completely black. When it spoke, its voice echoed in every language, somehow understood by all who heard it. "People of Earth," the alien said, "I am Zach Stroll, High Commander of the Galactic Council. We have come to offer you a choice." In the White House Situation Room, President Chen leaned forward, her eyes glued to the screen. Around her, advisors and military officials watched in tense silence. Zach Stroll continued, "For millennia, we have watched your species. You are violent, unpredictable, and dangerous. Yet you also possess great potential. The Council has decided that you cannot be allowed to join the galactic community as equals. You are too risky." A collective gasp went up around the world. In London, Dr. Emily Seto clenched her fists, anger rising in her chest. "Who are they to judge us?" she muttered. The alien's next words sent a chill through every human heart. "You have 2 options. Submit to the Council's rule, and we will guide your development. Resist, and we will have no choice but to eliminate the threat you pose." Silence fell across the earth. In that moment, the weight of the decision pressed down on every human being. "You have 48 hours to decide," Zach Stroll said. "Choose wisely." The hologram vanished, leaving behind a stunned world. Chaos erupted. In cities across the globe, people took to the streets. Some called for surrender, fearing the alien's superior technology. Others demanded resistance, unwilling to give up human freedom. In the UN Security Council, heated debates rage. "We cannot bow to these threats," the Russian representative shouted. "Humanity will not be enslaved." "But can we risk annihilation?" the French delegate countered. "We've seen their power. How can we hope to resist?" As leaders argued, others took action. In a secret facility deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, General Williams met with a team of the world's top scientists and military strategists. "We always knew this day might come," the general said, his voice grim. "It's time to wake the sleepers." Dr. Sato, who had been flown in from London, looked shocked. "The Lazarus Project, but it's not ready. We don't know the long-term effects." "We're out of time, Doctor," Williams replied. "It's our only hope." Meanwhile, in his small Kansas town, Jimmy Wilson watched as his neighbors packed their cars, fleeing to who knows where. But Jimmy's parents were acting strangely calm. "Mom, Dad, shouldn't we leave too?" Jimmy asked, confused. His father smiled mysteriously. "No need, son. We have a job to do right here." Across the world, similar scenes played out. Ordinary people who had been living double lives for years received coded messages. The time had come. As the 48-hour deadline ticked away, humanity's secret weapons stirred. In hidden bunkers and underground bases, capsules hissed open. Men and women who had been in suspended animation for decades slowly awoke. They were the best of the best. Soldiers, scientists, and strategists who had volunteered for a mission they hoped would never be necessary. Enhanced with technology beyond anything publicly known, they were humanity's last line of defense. In the White House, President Chen made her decision. She went on live TV, her face resolute. "To the Galactic Council," she said, her voice strong and clear, "hear me now. Earth rejects your ultimatum. We will not surrender. We will not bow. Humanity chooses freedom, whatever the cost." As Chen spoke, the sleepers fully awakened. Operation Lazarus had begun. The Galactic Council had no idea what they had just unleashed. The clock was ticking. Humanity's fight for survival was about to begin. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, in a secret facility known only to a handful of people, Operation Lazarus swung into full gear. General Williams stood in the control room, watching as hundreds of capsules lit up one by one. "Status report," he barked. A young technician responded, her fingers flying over the keyboard. "All systems green, sir. Vital signs are stable. We're beginning the wake-up sequence now." In the main chamber, the first capsule hissed open. A man sat up slowly, his eyes blinking in the bright light. Captain Jack Harper, age 35 when he entered the program, now looked no older despite the decades that had passed. "Welcome back, Captain," Dr. Emily Sato said, helping him out of the capsule. "How do you feel?" Jack flexed his fingers, rolled his shoulders. A grin spread across his face. "Like I could take on an alien army, Doc." Similar scenes played out across the globe. In the Sahara Desert, beneath the ice of Antarctica, in the depths of the Amazon rainforest, hidden bases activated, waking humanity's secret defenders. These weren't just soldiers. They were the best of the best, handpicked from every nation. Scientists, strategists, fighters, all volunteers who had agreed to sleep until the world needed them most. And they weren't just waking up. They were being reborn. In a lab in Tokyo, Dr. Yuki Tanaka watched in awe as one of the sleepers demonstrated her new abilities. The woman lifted a 2-ton weight with one hand, then disappeared in a blur of speed, reappearing on the other side of the room in a split second. "Incredible," Dr. Tanaka whispered. "The nanotech enhancements worked even better than we hoped." But it wasn't just physical enhancements. In London, Professor Alan Turing, no relation to the famous codebreaker, put a group of awakened scientists through a series of tests. "Their cognitive abilities are off the charts," he reported to General Williams via secure video link. "They're processing information faster than our most advanced AI. If anyone can find a way to counter the alien tech, it's them." As the sleepers awakened and tested their new abilities, the rest of the world held its breath. The Galactic Council's ships still loomed overhead, a constant reminder of the threat they faced. In Kansas, Jimmy Wilson was in for a shock. His parents sat him down in the living room, their faces serious. "Jimmy," his mother said gently, "there's something we need to tell you. We're not exactly who you think we are." To Jimmy's amazement, his father pulled out a hidden panel in the wall, revealing a high-tech communication system. "We're part of the Lazarus Project," he explained. "We've been waiting for this day, keeping watch." Across the world, other families had similar conversations. The support network for Operation Lazarus was vast, with sleeper agents embedded in every walk of life. Meanwhile, in Washington, D.C., President Chen met with her top advisors. The awakened sleepers were humanity's trump card, but how to use them without tipping their hand to the Galactic Council. "We need a distraction," said the Secretary of Defense. "Something to keep the aliens focused on our conventional forces while our enhanced teams get into position." Chen nodded grimly. "I never thought I'd say this, but we need to start a war. A war we're meant to lose, at least at first." As the plan came together, the sleepers continued their preparations. In a training facility under the Pacific Ocean, Captain Harper led his team through combat simulations. They moved with inhuman speed and strength, their minds working in perfect sync thanks to their neural enhancements. "Remember," Harper told his squad, "we're humanity's last hope. The aliens out there think they know what humans are capable of. Our job is to prove them very, very wrong." In her lab, Dr. Seto put the finishing touches on a piece of equipment that looked like a simple wristwatch. But looks were deceiving. "This," she told the assembled sleepers, "is our secret weapon. It's a portable quantum computer, more powerful than anything the world has ever seen. With this, you'll be able to hack into and control any technology, even alien tech." As the deadline set by the Galactic Council drew near, humanity's hidden defenders made their final preparations. They were outnumbered and outgunned, facing an enemy with technology far beyond their own. But they had surprise on their side. And they had something the Galactic Council couldn't understand or predict: the unbreakable human spirit. The battle for Earth was about to begin, and humanity was ready to show the galaxy what they were truly capable of. As the sun rose on the day of the Galactic Council's deadline, the world held its breath. In every major city, people looked up at the massive alien ships hovering silently in the sky. The moment of truth had arrived. Precisely at noon GMT, President Chen stood before the United Nations. Her voice, broadcast to every corner of the globe, was strong and defiant. To the Galactic Council, she declared, "Humanity rejects your ultimatum. We choose freedom. We choose to fight." The response was immediate. The alien ships lit up, their weapons charging with an ominous hum. In New York, London, Beijing, and other major cities, people screamed and ran for cover. But this was all part of the plan. As alien energy beams lanced down towards Earth's cities, they met an unexpected resistance. Shimmering force fields sprang into existence, deflecting the attacks. The aliens' surprise was palpable. Their sensors hadn't detected this technology. What they didn't know was that these shields were the work of Dr. Sato and her team, reverse-engineered from studying the aliens' own tech. It wouldn't hold forever, but it didn't need to. While the Galactic Council focused on this surprising defense, Operation Lazarus launched into action. In orbit around Earth, hidden stealth satellites suddenly activated. Piloted remotely by the enhanced sleepers, these advanced craft zoomed towards the alien ships. Captain Jack Harper, seated in a control room deep under the Rocky Mountains, grinned as he maneuvered his satellite. "Time to show these aliens what humans can do," he muttered. The stealth satellites latched onto the hull of the alien vessels. Immediately, the enhanced humans began their real work. Using Dr. Sato's quantum computers, they started hacking into the alien systems. Aboard the Galactic Council's flagship, alarms blared. Zach Strahl, the alien commander, rushed to the bridge. "What's happening?" he demanded. His subordinates worked frantically at their consoles. "Unknown, sir. Our systems are being accessed by, it's impossible, by human tech." Zach Strahl couldn't believe it. How could these primitives breach their superior technology? Back on Earth, in his Kansas home, young Jimmy Wilson was having the time of his life. His parents had revealed a hidden command center in their basement, and now Jimmy was helping coordinate the global resistance. "Mom," he called out excitedly, "the sleeper team in Australia just took control of the ship over Sydney." Similar reports came in from around the world. The enhanced humans, with their incredible speed and intelligence, were overwhelming the alien defenses. In London, Professor Turing's team had cracked the alien communication codes. "We can understand everything they're saying," he reported to General Williams. "And better yet, we can mimic their signals." This led to the next phase of the plan. False orders, seemingly from Galactic Council High Command, began flooding the alien network. Ships started to move out of position, weapons powered down, and confusion reigned. But the aliens weren't beaten yet. Zach Strahl, realizing the danger, ordered a counterattack. Swarms of smaller craft poured out of the larger ships, heading towards Earth's major military installations. This was the moment the humans had been waiting for. As the alien fighters approached, they were met by Earth's own secret weapon, the enhanced human pilots. In the skies over every continent, dogfights erupted. But these were unlike any battles in human history. The enhanced pilots, with their superhuman reflexes and the advanced tech of their aircraft, danced through the air with impossible grace. Captain Harper, leading a squadron over the Atlantic, barrel-rolled around an alien energy blast and returned fire. His shot, guided by the quantum computer's calculations, struck the alien fighter's weak spot perfectly. "Yahoo!" he shouted as the enemy craft spiraled towards the ocean. As the battle raged, Dr. Sato worked furiously in her lab. "We've got their tech, we've got their codes," she muttered to herself. "Now let's see if we can turn their own ships against them." The first day of humanity's fight for survival was coming to an end. They had surprised the Galactic Council, bloodied their nose, and shown that Earth wouldn't go down without a fight. But this was just the beginning. The real war was about to start, and the fate of humanity hung in the balance. As night fell, the enhanced humans prepared for their next move. Tomorrow, they would take the fight to the stars. As Earth celebrated its first victory against the Galactic Council, news of the battle spread across the stars like wildfire. In the grand halls of the Council's capital world, Zenth Prime, panic began to set in. Counselor Vexnar, a tentacled being from a water world, slammed his appendage on the table. How is this possible? These humans were supposed to be primitive. The other council members buzzed and chittered in agreement. Their carefully laid plans were falling apart. Meanwhile, on planets across the galaxy, subjugated species watched the unfolding events with growing hope. On the desert world of Kiros, the reptilian saurians gathered around public view screens, their scales bristling with excitement. "Look," one of them hissed. "The humans fight back against the council. Perhaps we too can break free." Similar scenes played out on hundreds of worlds. Species that had long ago given up hope of resisting the Galactic Council's rule began to whisper of rebellion. Back on Earth, the enhanced humans were pushing their advantage. Dr. Seto had made a breakthrough. "We can use the quantum computers to send messages faster than light," she explained to President Chen. "We can communicate with the oppressed species directly." Chen's eyes widened. "You mean we can organize a galactic rebellion?" "Exactly," Seto grinned. In Kansas, Juni Wilson was having the time of his life. His parents had set him up with a communication array, and he was now chatting with alien kids from across the galaxy. "No way," he typed to a young Saurian. "You guys have 3 sons. That's so cool." But it wasn't all fun and games. Through these conversations, Earth was building a network of allies and gathering crucial intelligence about the Council's weaknesses. Captain Jack Harper led a team of enhanced humans on a daring raid of a Council outpost on Mars. The aliens had been using the Red Planet as a forward base, but they hadn't counted on Earth's new capabilities. Harper's team moved with inhuman speed, their enhanced bodies allowing them to adapt instantly to the Martian environment. They overwhelmed the alien defenses and captured the base intact. "We've got their star charts," Harper reported back to Earth, "and their jump drive technology. We can take the fight to them now." As Earth prepared its next move, cracks began to show in the Galactic Council's unity. Species that had been loyal enforcers for millennia began to question their roles. On the Council capital of Zenth Prime, the Avian Aerie, longtime allies of the Council, called an emergency meeting. "The humans have shown us that resistance is possible," their leader, High Flyer Zigzag, announced. "We will no longer participate in the subjugation of other species. The Aerie stands with Earth." This declaration sent shockwaves through the Council. Other species began to follow suit, declaring their independence or pledging support to the human cause. Zax Trull, the Council's High Commander, watched in disbelief as his once mighty alliance crumbled. "This can't be happening," he muttered. "It's just one primitive species." But it was happening. Across the galaxy, statues of Council leaders were toppled. Ships meant to enforce the Council's will were instead turned against them. A new era of freedom was dawning. Earth, once seen as a backwater planet of little importance, was now at the center of a galactic revolution. The enhanced humans, with their incredible abilities and indomitable spirit, were inspiring billions of alien beings to fight for their freedom. Dr. Seto worked tirelessly, using the quantum computers to coordinate the growing rebellion. "It's amazing," she told President Chen. "Species that have been enemies for millennia are now working together, all inspired by us." But the Council wasn't defeated yet. As more and more planets declared their independence, the Council's loyalists prepared for a final desperate assault on Earth. "If we can crush the humans," Zax Trull told his remaining allies, "we can put an end to this rebellion and restore order to the galaxy." As the Council gathered its forces for one last attack, Earth and its new allies prepared for the battle that would decide the fate of the galaxy. The enhanced humans stood ready, their eyes turned to the stars. The greatest fight in human history was about to begin, and the freedom of countless species hung in the balance. "Let them come," Captain Harper said, his enhanced team at his side. "We'll show the galaxy what humanity is really capable of." The stage was set for the final confrontation. The galaxy held its breath, waiting to see if the upstart humans could truly overthrow the mighty Galactic Council. The galaxy was on edge as the Galactic Council gathered its remaining loyal forces for a final assault on Earth. Zax Trull, the Council's High Commander, stood on the bridge of his massive flagship, his 4 eyes narrowed in determination. "This ends now," he growled. "Prepare the jump to Earth's solar system." Meanwhile, on Earth, the enhanced humans and their new alien allies worked feverishly to prepare their defenses. In the secret base beneath the Rocky Mountains, Captain Jack Harper briefed his team. "This is it, folks," he said, his enhanced mind rapidly processing battle strategies. "Everything we've trained for comes down to this moment." Dr. Emily Sato burst into the room, her eyes shining with excitement. "We did it," she exclaimed. "We've fully integrated the alien tech with our quantum computers. We can now control their ships remotely." A cheer went up from the assembled warriors. This could be the edge they needed to win. In Kansas, young Jimmy Wilson sat at his communication array, coordinating with alien kids across the galaxy. "The Council ships are on the move," he reported to his parents. "Our allies are tracking them through hyperspace." President Chen stood in the White House Situation Room, surrounded by holographic displays showing the approaching Council fleet. She took a deep breath and gave the order. "Launch Operation Cosmic Freedom." Across Earth, hidden launch sites activated. Sleek spacecraft, built with a combination of human ingenuity and reverse-engineered alien tech, roared into the sky. At the helm of each ship was an enhanced human pilot, their reflexes and mental capabilities pushed to superhuman levels. As the Council fleet exited hyperspace near Mars, they were met with a surprising sight. A massive armada of ships from various alien races had gathered to defend Earth. Species that had been bitter enemies for millennia now flew side by side, united against their common oppressor. Zax Trull's mandibles clicked in frustration. "This changes nothing," he bellowed. "Crush them all." The battle that followed was like nothing the galaxy had ever seen. Energy beams crisscrossed the void of space, missiles streaked between the stars, and ships danced in impossible maneuvers. Captain Harper led a squadron of Earth's new ships right into the heart of the Council fleet. "Remember your training," he told his pilots. "Use the quantum link to disrupt their systems." As they flew, the enhanced humans activated Dr. Sato's latest invention. Invisible waves of quantum energy washed over the Council ships, causing their systems to glitch and malfunction. On Zax Trull's flagship, chaos erupted. "We're losing control of our weapons," an officer shouted. "Navigation is down." But the real surprise came when some of the Council's own ships suddenly turned against them. Dr. Sato, working with a team of alien tech experts, had managed to hack into the Council's command network. "How do you like a taste of your own medicine?" Sato muttered as she input commands, causing Council ships to fire on each other. The tide of battle quickly turned. The once mighty Council fleet found itself outmaneuvered and outgunned by the combined forces of Earth and its allies. In a desperate move, Zax Trull ordered his flagship to charge directly at Earth. "If we can't have it, no one will," he raged. But he hadn't counted on the sheer determination of the enhanced humans. Captain Harper, seeing the threat, made a split-second decision. "All units, focus fire on the flagship's engines," he commanded. In perfect synchronization, Earth's ships and their alien allies unleashed a barrage of firepower. The quantum-enhanced weapons easily penetrated the flagship's shields, crippling its engines. As his ship drifted helplessly in space, Zax Trull realized the truth. The Galactic Council had lost. Back on Earth, Cheers erupted as news of the victory spread. In Times Square, humans hugged their new alien friends as they watched the battle unfold on giant screens. In the streets of Tokyo, Paris, and Cairo, people danced and celebrated. President Chen addressed the world, and by extension, the galaxy. Today, we have won not just our freedom, but the freedom of countless species across the stars. The age of the Galactic Council's tyranny is over. As the remains of the Council fleet surrendered, Captain Harper and his team boarded Zack Strahl's flagship. The alien commander looked up at the humans in disbelief. "How?" he asked simply. "How did you defeat us?" Harper smiled. "You underestimated the human spirit," he said, "and you underestimated the power of freedom." As the enhanced humans secured the flagship, Earth prepared for a new era. The galaxy was changing, and humanity was at the center of it all. The stars, once so distant and unreachable, now promised a future filled with incredible possibilities. The tables had turned, and the human adventure was just beginning. 1 year had passed since the fall of the Galactic Council. Earth, once a backwater planet, now stood at the center of a new galactic era. The victory celebration in New York City was unlike anything the world had ever seen. Humans and aliens from across the galaxy gathered in Times Square. Holographic displays showed similar parties on hundreds of worlds. The atmosphere was electric with joy and possibility. President Chen stood on a stage, flanked by representatives from dozens of alien species. She raised her hands, calling for quiet. "My fellow citizens of Earth and of the galaxy," she began, her voice carried to billions of beings across the stars. 1 year ago, we faced extinction. Today, we celebrate not just our survival, but a new beginning for all species. The crowd erupted in cheers. Tentacles, wings, and human hands alike waved in excitement. In the front row, Captain Jack Harper stood with his team of enhanced humans. They had become heroes, not just to Earth, but to countless alien races. Harper smiled as he watched a group of saurian children asking for his autograph. "Never thought I'd be signing autographs for lizard kids," he chuckled to Dr. Emily Sato, who stood beside him. Sato grinned. "Well, get used to it. You're a galactic celebrity now." Near the back of the crowd, young Jimmy Wilson was having the time of his life. He was surrounded by alien kids he had befriended during the war. They chattered excitedly in a mix of English and various alien languages, all easily translated by the new universal translators. "Jimmy," a young Aerie called out, her feathers ruffling in excitement. "Is it true your people are opening a galactic academy on Earth?" Jimmy nodded enthusiastically. "Yeah, my parents say I might even get to attend when I'm older." Can you imagine? Humans and aliens learning together. As the celebration continued, important work was happening behind the scenes. In a high-tech conference room overlooking the festivities, Earth's leaders met with representatives from across the galaxy. They were hammering out the details of the new Galactic Alliance, a cooperative body to replace the oppressive Galactic Council. Unlike its predecessor, this alliance would be based on mutual respect and cooperation. The key, an elderly Saurian diplomat was saying, is to learn from Earth's example. Their diversity, their ability to unite despite differences. This is what we must emulate on a galactic scale. Others nodded in agreement. Earth's victory had shown the galaxy a new way forward. Meanwhile, in orbit above Earth, a massive construction project was underway. Dr. Sato stood at a viewport on the International Space Station, watching as robots and workers from a dozen species assembled the framework of humanity's first faster-than-light ship. "The U.S. Unity," she murmured, admiring the sleek design. "Our first step into the wider galaxy." Back on the ground, the enhanced humans were adapting to their new roles. No longer secret weapons, they now served as bridges between Earth and its new alien allies. Their unique abilities and experiences made them invaluable in navigating the complex world of galactic politics and cultural exchange. Captain Harper, for instance, found himself teaching combat techniques to a mixed class of human and alien military personnel. The key, he told his students, is to adapt. Use your unique strengths, whatever they may be. As night fell on the celebration, President Chen retired to the Oval Office. She sat at her desk, now adorned with gifts from a dozen alien worlds. A holographic message was waiting for her. It was from Zack Strull, the former High Commander of the Galactic Council. He had been sentenced to help rebuild worlds that the Council had oppressed. Madam President, the message began, I was wrong about humanity. Your species has shown a capacity for forgiveness and growth that I never thought possible. Perhaps in time, we can learn from each other. Chen smiled as the message ended. This, she thought, was the true victory, not just defeating an enemy, but turning them into a friend. As she looked out the window at the star-filled sky, Chen felt a sense of wonder. The galaxy, once a source of threat, now promised endless opportunities. Humanity had not just survived, they had opened the door to a future brighter than anyone could have imagined. Earth had taken its place among the stars, and the greatest adventure in human history was just beginning. The dawn of a new galactic age had arrived, and humanity was ready to lead the way.